Hi, my name is Jennifer Hatch. I am a pediatric occupational therapist here at Fluens Children's Therapy. And today I wanted to talk a little bit about sensory processing and what that kind of looks like. So I'm sure you're familiar with the five senses. So touch, taste, smell, hearing, and vision. Those are pretty common, but there's also three other systems that we have. So the other three systems, there's the interoception system. So that's your ability to recognize internal cues. So do you recognize when you're hungry? Do you recognize when you're full? And do you recognize when you need to go to the bathroom? So that kind of covers the interoception system. The next is vestibular, and this is responding to movement. So some kids are over responsive to the movement, so they might be a little fearful of, climbing up on things, swinging, running. When you pick them up off the ground, they might be a little bit uncomfortable. And there's also kiddos who are under responsive, so they're seeking out that information a little bit more. So that might, look like a kiddo who could run laps all day, but they're never finished. So they're always seeking, swinging, running, jumping, crashing. They're a little bit under responsive to movement, so they're seeking out a little bit more. And then the last one is proprioception, and that is your awareness of your body in space. So if you close your eyes, you can kind of get a sense of where you are in space. And some kiddos really struggle with that. So again, that might also look like, hesitant to climbing. You go to pick them up and they're a little bit frightful. They just don't quite know where their body is in space yet. And so it's a little disorienting to them. And that can kind of create an overstimulation in their brain. Kiddos can either be over-responsive or under-responsive to sensory input. And that kind of looks different in all kids. So typically during an evaluation, I will talk to caregivers about just kind of day-to-day things that their kiddos might be doing. Do we like swinging? Do we avoid it? Are we a picky eater, or do we eat a good variety of foods? So I'm always trying to get information from the parents. I also have a sensory profile that I'll have my parents fill out, and that kind of breaks it down, and I'm able to kind of determine what that child might need, because it looks different in every single child. Depending on, if a child is over-responsive or under-responsive, it can be very disorienting and very just overstimulating for the brain. So imagine, you're sitting down and you're at school and you're trying to take a test, but you can hear the air conditioner, you can hear the person next to you coughing, you can hear the pages moving, you can see other people around you moving. And so some kiddos who are just so easily distracted by that sensory input can really impact their education, being able to attend to lessons. And so when we're so distracted that we can't attend to what's being, taught to us, that can kind of cause a barrier between, learning and development. So we definitely address, sensory processing. We give tips and strategies. I'll work with schools on implementing maybe some techniques for the classroom to kind of help those kiddos who are a little bit, whether they're over-responsive or under-responsive. So I like to do a lot of collaboration with parents and teachers to make sure that our kiddos are getting enough of that sensory input that they're either seeking, or we're kind of holding back on some of that sensory input that they might be a little overreactive to. So if you suspect that your child is having difficulties in any area of sensory processing, again, whether it's in any of those 8 categories, definitely give us a call, and we can definitely talk to you over the phone, and we can get you in for an occupational therapy evaluation and see if there's any way that we can help.